There's a beautiful description about the fire sacrifice and the flames that come out of it. The description is about different kinds of flames. Kali, Karali, Chamano Java, Chasulohita, Yacha Sudum, Brahmarna, Spulingini, Vishwarupi, Chadevi, Lela Yamana iti Sapta Jihvaha. Says the tongue has 7 moving flames. Fire of sacrifice. When the flames go up, there are 7 tongues of fire. They are the black, the terrific, the swift as the wind, the very red, the very smoky colored, the spark blazing, the all-shaped goddess. So here suddenly a description is quite metaphorical from the abstract to the concrete. I mean, this is how the Upanishads work. So going up there, suddenly down you're looking at different kinds of fire. It is symbolical expression of the 7 tongues of fire, meaning, and they have been identified as a goddess. So can you think of anything connected with 7, which is also connected in some way symbolically with the goddess, so the feminine energy? The Devi, the sparking Devi, is the Kundalini. The word is not used here, of course, because that word is derived from the Tantras. It's not used in the Upanishad. But it's talking about this fire which, when lit, where is it lit? In the Mooladhara first. We have to learn Kriya, so it's good to learn slowly. We are going very slowly. Instead of from the abstract, we are following the Upanishadic procedure from the abstract to the concrete. So, the lowest center of consciousness, which means in the human being, in the body of the human being, the lowest center of awareness is what is called the root center, the root chakra. It is also called Mula Adhara, which means root foundation, R-O-O-T, root foundation. And it is always represented by a sacrificial homakund of 4 sides, like square. You'll see it in mandalas, you'll see it in Sri Yantras, you'll see it in many places. First there is a square, and that square is the Mooladhara. And then there are many lotuses in it, in different circles, till the center where there is a dot, which is the bindu. And this is where the shining goddess, sparkling goddess is supposed to live, unknown to us generally. And for all functions in the world, according to the Tantra, one needs only awareness in the lowest center. You don't need it anywhere else. It's enough, even for being a physicist or an artist or an woodcutter or everything. All that is required is awareness in that center, because that is the center connected with solid world, 3-dimensional world. When you light the fire there, fire of desire for ascending to the higher levels of consciousness, from the lowest, it goes to the next, it goes to the next, it goes to the next. And these different tongues of fire are the symbols given for the different centers and their colors. And as the flame moves up, you know how those old lamps which we had, you turn it and then slowly go. In the same way the flame goes up, and as it goes up to the 7th center. When it has gone there, then your consciousness, your awareness has ascended to the highest and subtlest level possible for a human being. And as it goes, it licks the different centers, the fire. In some of the tantras, it's described that the mother goddess we described early, tongue out, dances up the centers, and at each chakra, she licks it and goes up, lights the fire. And then when it reaches here, one has reached the highest level of consciousness possible for a human being, where one is close to that which is beyond all measurements, all definitions. So this is the discussion of the moving tongues of fire. Whosoever performs works makes offerings on these tongues, shining tongues, at the proper time. These offerings lead him on to those worlds where the gods abide. Here, plural gods is used because at each center, one's mind opens up to different energies and different forms, gods. That is the single one. When it touches here, then everything is subsided, there's only one. The radiant offerings invite him, saying, "Come, come," and carry the sacrificer by the rays of the sun, honoring him and saluting him with pleasing words. This is your holy world of Brahma, won through good deeds. So by doing good deeds and by understanding the meaning of the fire, one ascends to higher realms and one is welcome there. And then one's frontiers open up and one is no more confined to a small little silly human being. You're a human being, but better. So now you'll see that constantly there is reference to the path of the sun and the path of the moon in the Upanishads and in many other texts. The reason being that in the yogic anatomy physiology, little different from normal anatomy physiology, there are many nadis, channels of energy, channels through which energy moves in the human system, of which the most important are three: the left, the right and the center. For most of us, in most cases, the energy is moved either to the left or to the right. There is a central channel called Sushumna, the Royal Highway. The straight and narrow path. Now in that, usually we are not aware of that. We are only aware of left and right. So for all actions in this world, it's enough for the energies to move through the Ida and the Pingala. Now the Ida, which is on the left side, starting from here, is called the cool energy, or the moon. And the right one, Pingala, is called the sun energy, the hot. In fact, the word Ha in Sanskrit means positive sun, and Tha means the moon. So that's why yoga sometimes is called Hatha Yoga. Some people think Hatha Yoga means physical exercise. No. It is a combination of how to manipulate the Ha and the Tha, which mean the moon and the sun energies. Which is why there is constant reference to sun, moon, traveling through the sun, traveling through the moon and so on. It is how the consciousness or awareness travels through these two sides. While these two are important, from the yogi's point of view, for liberation, to reach the highest, the main channel is the central one, which starts at the bottom of the spine, which we just discussed, the Muladhara, where the fire is lit, and goes straight up to the top, where there is a 1,000-petal lotus. And in the middle of that 1,000-petal lotus sits the jewel, shining. Jewel of your true consciousness. Om Mani Padme Om, which is there. Mani is jewel. Padma is a lotus. Om, jewel in the lotus. Om, sits here. So, this is why this moon and sun has entered the picture. Not to complicate us or confuse us, but now, they also say these 18 sacrifices of the sun and the moon are actually belonging to the inferior activities, because they have not touched the central channel yet. The movement is on the left or on the right. The deluded who delight in this and think they are moving up fall again into old age and death. Deluded that by performing these sacrifices in the lower levels, physically, with only the sun and the moon involved, that they have achieved the highest. Unfortunately, they haven't, so they fall back into old age and death, because they haven't discovered the immortal self that neither grows old nor dies. So, here the rishis are talking about those who are satisfied with these external sacrifices and with still living on the level of the lower centers of the sun and the moon, thinking that they have achieved everything. He says they're deluded guys who again fall victim to old age and death, not having realized the immortal essence, which neither grows old nor is ever born or dies. Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhira panditam manyamanaha janganyamanaha pariyanti mudha andhenaiva niyamana yatandaha. Beautiful statement. If you thought that the blind leading the blind was first said by Shakespeare, you are mistaken. Is this at least 1,000 years old? At least, maybe more. What does the Rishi say here? It says, abiding in the midst of ignorance, wise in their own esteem, thinking themselves to be learned. Then he goes a little brash. Fools, inflicted with troubles, go about like blind men, led by the blind. Blind leading the blind. It is those who think that while they are happy in this world and do all these sacrifices for wealth and this and that, and stay only in the sun and the moon and haven't found the original self, some of them don't know that they haven't found the original self. So proud in their knowledge, they also set themselves up as teachers and leaders of men. So, how does that work? It's like the blind leading the blind. Both fall into a ditch. Andhenaiva niyamana yatanda. Beautiful state. In fact, the Sanskrit sounds better than the English. The blind leading the blind. Okay. Andhenaiva niyamana yatanda.